Murcott. So let's take 3 conscious breaths together. Releasing any tension you may be carrying. Another deep breath in and relaxing on the out breath. And one more time, breathing in and relaxing, releasing any tension as you breathe out. And now allowing the breath to flow in its own natural rhythm. And just sensing and feeling how the breath is for you right now. And if it's not comfortable for you for any reason to focus attention on the breath, just notice the sensations in the body, maybe focusing on the hands and noticing any warmth or tingling or any sensations there. And for others to bring attention to noticing just how it is, whether the breath is short, fast, long, slow, smooth or choppy. The breath is exquisitely attuned to the body, to the needs for air, for oxygen, to the level of activity. We sit very quietly, and we do that so that the breath can begin to calm down. As the breath calms down, the mind can calm down a little bit more and more gently. The breath is also exquisitely attuned to our emotions. When we're upset or agitated, breathing moves very differently from when we're peaceful, at ease. Remembering that the mindfulness here is about simply being aware of how it is. There's no, it's not better if it's rapid and choppy than if it's slow and deep. We like slow and deep better, but from the perspective of mindful awareness, it does not matter. What matters is our consciousness, our presence with what's happening. And when the attention wanders away into the past or the future, just bringing back to keeping each breath company with the attention. From the beginning of a breath. And you can do this with sensations too, to where one breath ends and there's that slight pause as another breath is born. That breath is born, has its being, and passes away. The next breath arises, is born, has its being, and vanishes. So we're really studying the birth and death of experience, fully sensed and fully felt right here, right now. Aware of the sounds of life around you, the touch points of your body with your clothing and where you're sitting. Coming to our senses. What we see, hear, smell, taste, touch. And the sixth sense, awareness, noticing, perceiving. And then shifting gears slightly, just appreciating the steadiness and presence of your breath, appreciating the loyalty of your breath that is your companion as long as we're alive. relaxing with the out breath. And with the in breath, allowing yourself to be soothed, almost to be caressed or loved by the breath. Always here for us, as long as we are. Just allowing yourself to rest and to relax in the movement and the flow of breathing. Held by this trustworthy, reliable movement of the breath. As long as we are breathing, there is some safety and protection alive. Resting in the arms of aliveness, in the arms of the cosmos. Ding. When you're ready, and when you're ready, you can keep sitting. If you're enjoying your sit, just keep going. So I promised to tell the anti-war Buddha story, which I will, and then I will address what you put in the chat or any other questions or comments or responses or reflections you have about your practice. So this story comes from the Pali Canon. It's an account of the Buddha intervening in a dispute between the Sakyas, which were his own clan, and the Kolyas over, I mean, I'm not sure how they pronounced their name back then, over the waters of the Rohini River. We have fights over water happening today. These are not, this was an ancient one, but nothing new. So these two clans were on the verge of a big battle over the irrigation rights. And the Buddha actually intervened. He tried to do diplomacy um, in different disputes and avert wars, and sometimes he was actually successful. So in this case, the Buddha is said to have gone and stood between the two armies and asked them to consider, it was like a koan, he asked them to consider which is more valuable, water or the blood of your warriors. And the story is that the army stood down. Now, Richard is telling me this is not true, that it's a myth. But these myths are lessons for us. So I'm going to keep telling the story, and it isn't a long story. So please be patient with me, Richard, but thank you. I do appreciate it. And okay, so this particular story is cited from one of the Jataka tales, number 536, as a matter of fact, and from commentarial literature from the Dhammapada. And some versions appear in Buddhaghosa's commentaries. So it's not from a clean sutta, one of the main Nikayas. It lives in the commentarial layers and the Jataka layers of the tradition. So in the story, the Buddha goes out and sits under a bare, shadeless tree, which is already an austerity practice, by the roadside 3 times to block the advancing army. And each time, they turn the army around out of respect and they withdraw. But the story says after the 3rd time, the 3rd try, the Buddha recognized that there was some history, some karmic history to what was unfolding, that the Shakyas had committed a big wrong in an earlier generation by deceiving the father of Vidyadhara. And so I don't know if he just didn't sit there under the tree or what happened, but Vidyadhara marched on and massacred the Shakyas clan in Kapilavastu. And so these stories don't really mean that everything always works out. But I take the moral of this story to be you show up fully, you do what you can, and you stay present even when the outcome is beyond your reach. And this is something that I think all of us are being called to do in our ways during this time, that, there's so much that is, the outcome is beyond our reach, and it can lead to feelings of helplessness. But each of us has some karmic affinity, some talent, something that we care about and maybe are a little bit good at, that we can show up fully, do what we can, and stay present even when the outcome is out of reach for us. And so that's really the story that I want to tell you. Um, and now I actually am going to turn to your interests and also invite any of you who want to raise your hand. I guess, Melanie, you'll unmute people? Okay,
Yeah,
great.
absolutely. We can.
So, yeah, okay. So the first question was how to find balance with helping and supporting somebody close to me in my life who is suffering, while also not doing so to the extent that I'm drained, as happened last week when I felt I hit an exhaustion wall. And thank you so much for, I just see Brittany. Thank you so much, Brittany, for asking about this, because being a caregiver and I don't mean necessarily a literal caregiver, but being an emotional support person, and finding your balance, not losing your boundaries. This is where I feel the practices of equanimity come in, because we practice metta, we do loving kindness practices. Are you familiar with those? Yeah. So we do these loving kindness practices, which dissolve boundaries. They open our hearts. They allow us to feel connection and empathic connection to others and uh, oneness with others and so forth. And there are times in life when we need our boundaries, when we're not just working to dissolve our boundaries. Usually we are, because the sense of separation and being a separate individual, alone and isolated, is so strong. But there come times when we need our boundaries. And that's where the equanimity practices are so helpful, particularly the phrase, um, you are the owner of your own karma, your own life situation. Your happiness or unhappiness depends on your actions, not on my wishes for you. So that's I'm gonna say it again and a little bit differently. That's a really helpful practice, to have that phrase, to repeat that phrase. And maybe, Melanie, you can even put that phrase. You are the owner of your life situation. I mean, assuming it's an adult, um, your happiness or unhappiness depends on your choices, not on my wishes for you. Obviously, you wish nothing but happiness for the close person in your life who's suffering. At the same time, there is that limit of what we can do. It's a practice that helped me so much, Brittany, when I was living with a husband who was struggling with an addiction and not in recovery. Because that's something that I just completely talk about, something that is beyond your reach, of outcome. There's nothing you can do except hope, support that person to go in recovery. But as long as they're not, this phrase, because you desperately love, well, you're close to somebody that assumes that you love and care for them, and you want the best for them. So you acknowledge that you send them all the metta, karuna, mudita in the world, but you also acknowledge the limitations that, this is the way things are right now. Your happiness or unhappiness doesn't depend on my care and support. It depends on your choices and your actions. So that's what I would recommend you practice. Just practice it, repeat the phrases. And they're all, I think all these phrases are in that wonderful book originally that Sharon Salzberg wrote, The Revolutionary Art of Happiness, Loving Kindness. And then the subtitle was The Revolutionary Art of Happiness. And she wrote that book, I think it was in 1995 or something, but it is really a classic, good book about the Brahma Viharas, these divine places where the heart can dwell. And so let's see. Next one was relationships with your adult sons or daughters. I only have an adult daughter. I don't have an adult son. Well, actually, I do, but he's my grandson, and he's just graduating from college in 10 days. So, but he's my grandson, and my relationship, grandparent to grandkids is so different from parent to kid, because I'm free of all anxiety. I'm free of, I just get to enjoy them. I don't have, I'm not really, I just get to enjoy them. So I don't know who asked this question. If you're willing, Beatrice, if you're willing to talk to me for a minute, I don't know where you are, who you are, which one you are. Can you, if you're here still?
Hi, Trudy. Yes, this is Beatrice.
Okay, okay, okay.
I think that what you were saying before is kind of like the answer or response or reflection that I kind of wanted to hear. It's like, like we sometimes, pues I worry too much, and that worry doesn't help my son, an adult son. So it's like you can wish and support, but I guess what you were saying, that's what I think. But I mean, I think that was the answer more or less. But I just, because sometimes the relationship with adult children is like a little difficult sometimes. I
It's
guess
really difficult sometimes. I have,
so
uh,
much love, but a little difficult in my.
yeah, yeah. And I think, I mean, in my experience, since you asked about it, I'll just share with you that there's a kind of legacy of anxiety, I would say, in the women in my family. It just seems to cascade down the generations. And so I have had at different points a lot of anxiety, sure, about my daughter, and she almost died when she was little, and this and that. But as an adult, um, I'm ashamed to tell you how long it's taken me to realize and trust that she is a smart, competent woman who is perfectly fine without me worrying about her, right? And recently, uh, I was doing some inner work of my own, and I realized that there were some things I hadn't been able to provide for her as a single mom when she was little. Things that especially little children really need: consistency and routine. And my life was not like that at that time. And I was very young and I was a working single mom. So I was, I've always said, oh, it wasn't that bad. I was very devoted to you. It wasn't that bad. And then I suddenly realized maybe it was that bad for her in a certain way. Do you know, I was sort of denying her feelings. And I talked to her about it. And I said, I have an amends to make to you that I really haven't. It's astonishing given my work as a psychotherapist, given the decades of meditation. I really hadn't put myself in your shoes, and I apologized for not having been able to provide certain things for you that you needed and that every child needs and has a right to receive. And I didn't know what would happen. She was incredibly generous and kind and thanked me, and it has shifted our relationship, actually. I'm 80 years old. She's 58. So this is also a story about you can teach old dogs new tricks. We can continue to learn and practice and grow all our lives and change our relationships, you know, even very long-standing ones like that. So I don't know your situation with your son, but you might just practice putting yourself in his shoes and imagining it's like an act of, it's like Dharma play, where you exchange self for other for a moment and just imagine how is it for him with you. And if you discover something and you share it with him, who knows, he might be relieved or grateful.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
I was also a single mom, so thank you.
Yes, it's very difficult.
Mhm.
You juggle so much, and yeah. Yeah, and I'm reading what Brittany put in the chat. You should all look in the chat. Um, that breaks my heart because you actually asked for an apology or an amends, and my daughter never did. She was just kind of annoyed with me. It was nothing. It was just a kind of, what would you call it, like a low grade something, which has now vanished. Um, so yeah, we still have some time. We could sit some more. Or we could, I could invite some of you to bring whatever's in your heart today, since I'm here with you. And you don't need, if you're shy, you can put it in the chat. I think you're talking, Cornelia, but you are muted, so I can't hear you. Can you help Cornelia unmute, Madeline? I don't know if you were talking to me or somebody else.
Can you hear me?
Yes, now I can.
Thank you. Thank you so much for your presence. It's wonderful. I actually don't have a question or anything. I just wanted to say, as I tried to put it in the chat, that I thank you for your wonderful meditation. And I don't, um, usually guided meditations are not my thing. I get distracted. I don't need to be guided to a river and sit at the water or
Oh,
something.
me too. I don't like
It
guided meditation.
distracts me. I mean, it's
They
wonderful,
interrupt my
but
thinking.
yeah, absolutely, it interrupts my. I wanted to be present, and so your guidance, um, I just really loved it. It brings me tears because it's full of warmth and heart and feminism. So usually, all the teachers are male. So this coming your meditation comes from a different, really warm, compassionate direction. And I wanted to thank you. And I wish I could listen to that all the time, but I guess I can't. I don't know
Well, I do
if
have guided meditations on my
oh,
website.
on you.
If you go to trudygoodman.com, there are some guided meditations on there. And I'm
Okay.
actually getting some help to redo the website so that it's going to be much easier to navigate and find the things that you're looking for. And there are
Okay.
also some guided meditations on the Insight LA website. And if you could put both trudygoodman.org, no, excuse me, trudygoodman.com and insightla.org in the chat, Madeline, there are guided meditations and Dharma talks um,
Okay. I
on
think I
there
saw
that
that.
you can find if you want, Cornelia.
Okay, good. I'll go back. I went on that the other day because I listened to Gulu Singh. Is it
Yeah,
how you say it? Yes.
yes.
I went to his website, so maybe I didn't see yours. Okay,
Yeah,
great.
you can go to mine. Gulu and I are teaching this retreat together. So he's a wonderful teacher. I completely recommend him. And he's also doing these short videos of teachings that are really
Mhm.
cool that he's creating and sending out. If you aren't on his mailing list, get on his mailing list. They're really good.
I do that. Are you the love of Jack Cornfield?
Well, he is my husband. I hope I am.
That's the way he talks about you.
Well, fortunately, he's pretty loving. It's not just talk.
No,
He's
I know.
really, no, I'm teasing, but he is somebody, one of the reasons I fell in love with him, he is somebody who walks his talk. He really does. Not all teachers can manage to do that. Not
No.
everybody has the strength of character or whatever it takes to
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
be that congruent, but he does, and he is. So,
Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely. Thank you.
yeah, thank you. Um, hmm. Richard, are you still there? You can tell me more about this if you are. I can't see. Is there anybody else who we still just have a few? We have 4 precious minutes to be together.
I
We
have one quick question. This is maybe a wish that I'm putting out into the universe, but would you and Jack consider leading a retreat this year or next year?
Well, here's the thing. Jack and I are 80 years old. We're going to be 81 this summer, and Jack has decided he's not teaching retreats anymore. So he's done.
Mm.
You know, I still do it, not as much, but I'm still, because I'm also writing a book, and if you're going to write a book, you actually have to spend time writing the book. That's one of the problems. It's the same thing with mindfulness. The problem is for it to work, you have to actually do it. It's not enough to read that nice Dharma book on your night table. Um, but Jack started teaching, oh gosh, probably 15 years before I did. So I feel like I have a little more runway still. And he taught for, I don't know, I was trying to calculate, like, did he stop when the Buddha stopped after 44 years? Or, did he? But I don't think so. I think he just got tired of doing it. And for almost 50 years, when we co-taught, he was so fresh and interested in every single student or yogi or, the participant in the retreat. It was amazing. It was amazing. He just, and then it stopped and he didn't want to do it anymore. But he really, so I'm sorry. We won't. Yeah. We won't. We still have 4 minutes. That didn't.
We had one person asking if there are one or two books that you would recommend, and then after that, I'll go ahead and offer some closing words.
Dharma books?
It says if there are one or two
No,
books.
I see. I see. So I'm
Oh,
asking
yeah,
Michelle, is
yeah.
it Dharma books you're interested in? Um,
Yeah, just
I can't see where you
yeah.
are.
Oh, I'm here somewhere.
Oh, there. Okay. Oh,
Yeah.
you have that gorgeous background.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you.
You're out in the
Yeah.
field. I can see.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, look, one of my favorite Dharma books is Zen
Yeah.
Mind, Beginner's Mind, which was, 1971.
hmm
Know that book?
No, I don't. That's
Oh,
what.
that's a beautiful book. Zen Mind, Beginner's Mind is from Suzuki Roshi. But if you put Zen Mind, Beginner's
Yeah.
Mind, you'll
Mhm.
find it. It's a classic.
Yeah.
Um, and then Sharon's book on loving kindness is wonderful.
Yeah. That's
And I
what I
like,
wanted to-
did you read Sharon's book on faith?
No, I haven't.
I
I'm
like
always
that.
just I'm always curious what people's like favorite books are and kind of what you always recommend other people to read. Like I have books I always want to give away, you know.
Well, right now, because I'm writing,
Yeah.
I'm not reading Dharma books right now.
Right.
But you know, let's see, let me take a
What
moment.
is the book about that you're writing right now?
I'm writing a book about my life with my teachers and with my husbands,
Oh,
because my first husband died. I had a series of husbands, and that's all I'll say in this
okay.
context. But I'm writing about that. I'm writing about my Dharma teachers and my experience with them. So it's a combination of memoir and Dharma book, both.
Oh,
It's like my life in the Dharma.
oh,
But
that's fascinating.
because
Yeah.
I'm a woman and because we need to hear women's voices, I'm also including my personal life.
Yeah.
And I also am being really honest
Mhm.
about my personal life. So it's not,
Yeah.
this sort of gauzy, glowy
Right.
portrait of a Dharma teacher. It's
That
very
sounds
real.
wonderful.
It's very real.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
Okay.
thank
Yeah.
you. Thank
All
you so
right.
much
Thank
for
you,
that.
everybody. Thank you so
Yeah.
much. I love practicing with
Okay.
you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
And so I just wanted to let everyone know that next week we do have Gulu Singh will be joining us for Lunchtime Mindfulness next Wednesday at noon. And Trudy, we're so lucky to have you at the center this week and back in November. And we're so lucky to have you with our Sangha, with our community. So we really, really appreciate your time. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Thank you so much. Thanks for being our host, Madeline.
Yeah. And I did put in the chat, you might have to scroll up a tiny bit. I think we just lost Trudy, but if anyone would like to offer any dana or generosity to Trudy in her website, you can see that there's a link there to her website. There's also a link to the Big Bear Retreat Center website for upcoming retreats and everything we have on the calendar for the next year, as well as all of the upcoming guests for the Big Bear Retreat Center Lunchtime Mindfulness is on there. So thank you so much for being here, everyone. And we hope you'll join us again next Wednesday. Have a peaceful day.